Okay, so 5.4, Properties of Logarithms. This will be day number 3. In day 3 video, what you will see is one more problem on expanding logarithms. You will see how to condense logarithms, and then you will also learn the change of base formula. Okay, so relatively easy day. Change of base formula is very, very simple, so let's get started. Okay, so yesterday you watched letter C and D, so I'm obviously not going to redo them. But letter E, if I asked you to expand this logarithm, think about it. First thing I understand is that this 1/2, I need to take care of that. And I also have division that I have to take care of that as well. So I'm going to start by taking care of the exponent. I took this 1/2, I simply slid it out front, there it was. I then decided to take the division, which I know division is a subtraction sign, and voila, I have now successfully expanded that logarithm. Okay, the 1/2 needs to go in parentheses. The log of x minus the log of y needs to go in parentheses because the 1/2 is on both of them. Okay, so you got to make sure you keep that in parentheses. Okay, so now I told you it was going to be important that you are able to work in both directions. So we expanded them before, so now let's actually condense them. What I notice when I'm condensing, first thing I notice, I got this plus sign here. Well, that plus sign tells me that it had to come from multiplication. I also have this 4 out front. I know that that came from the exponent. Okay, so think about if we were to condense them, I would have 2 times x to the 4th, and voila, that is completely finished. 5. Or letter G, not 5, letter G. Again, I noticed this 5 had to come from an exponent. I know this minus sign had to come from division. So if I condense that into a single natural log, I know what I would do is I would take the natural log of p to the 5th, and I would divide that by q, and bada bing, bada boom, that would be finished. Okay. Last thing, condensing, I thought that was pretty easy. I'll give you some more practice with that in class. Last thing, change of base formula. You have to use this for when you're not in base 10, right? Your graphing calculator only does base 10. So what happens if I asked you to actually solve this and figure out, well, what is the base 8 log of 75? Well, I don't know, so teach me. How do I use the change of base formula to figure out these answers? Watch how easy this is. What you do to change it to a base of 10, you just take, look up here, I take the log of x and divide it by the log of a. How do I remember which one's which? Well, here's the way I taught myself how to do this. I know the a is underneath the x, so voila, that's how I remembered it. So to change it into a base of 10, all I have to do is take the log of 75 and divide that by the log of 8. Voila, I've converted it to a base of 10, so it's 2.076. Notice I asked you to round to the nearest thousandths. How could I double check to make sure that this is right? Well, if I understand that this is just simply an exponent, I'm basically asking myself, 8 to what power is 75? Right? That's basically what that says. So 8 to the 2.076 power is going to be equal to 75. Now you have to understand, based on how we round it off, it's not going to be exactly 75, but it's going to be darn close to that. Okay, so B, C, and D, you should be able to try these on your own. I shouldn't even have to talk about them. Change them all to a base of 10. I'm going to zip right through this so you kind of get the point of how to do them. And voila, here should be your 3 answers, right? So understand, you should have paused your video. You should have went from there. So condensing them, change a base formula, you should be okay, and good job.